everyone. We talked many times about a lot of disadvantages to Russia in this idiotic attempt to invade Ukraine. Aside from the violations of international charters, international laws, reparations, all of that, there are distinct disadvantages to Russian people themselves. Right now, there is no economic development of any kind in Russia. All the money is tied up in this war. There are no jobs except army jobs. And army jobs means cannon fodder. Go become a sunflower in the fields of Ukraine. And here's another problem. Russia is facing a population crisis. By 2030, there is going to be a labor shortage. Their workforce is going to shrink with a shortage of 11 million people because they're running out of people who are capable of working. Sure, they could increase retirement age, which I think they have. I'd have to go look. But eventually, as much as they try to work people until they're 75 and 80 years old, people are going to start dying. Meanwhile, the entire younger generation is dying at the war. So there's not going to be anybody left to actually, work, do other stuff. Build, fix, feed, treat, all of that. At this point, considering all of the Telegram and Twitter comments I've read from the Russians who support this war, I don't feel particularly sorry for them. I feel sorry for their children who are stuck with their shitty parents who support this shitty regime. But it is worth watching. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, this is 5 whole years out. It's true. But let's not forget, just recently in July, we were exactly at the half point of year 2025. And at noon of that day, we went from being closer to 2050 than we were from year 2000. A lot of people had a lot of thoughts on the subject, and I can tell you, time flies. 5 years is not that long. So, that is out there, and unfortunately, there are no answers to that. Putin is determined not to stop. That is his thing. He already said that he will never stop this war. That means that all of the money is going to keep going into Russia's military-industrial complex, and all of their viable workers are going to keep dying in Ukraine. That said, Trump had threatened some tariffs against Russia, and Russia is not very rattled about that. That is understandable because right now we're not really trading with Russia. First of all, we have too many Americans who still do not understand that when something is tariffed, when something has a tariff imposed on them, it is the buyer who pays the tariff, not the seller. So it doesn't matter whom you impose tariffs on, Russia, China, Iran, Afghanistan. It could be all of the axis of evil together and taken separately. In the end, it is the American consumer who pays that money, not them. It's not a punishment to them. Second, we don't have a lot of trade with Russia right now. There's some businesses, I talked about this a couple of days ago, that still do business there. But all in all, that's not that much. And that's mostly businesses that do their stuff in Russia, so inside that country. It's not the products that come to the United States. So that is not going to do a damn thing. And again, the material point is that the message from Moscow is that they will not get out of Ukraine until the root causes of the war are resolved. And the way they present them is that Russia is threatened by Kyiv, by NATO, by the collective West. Go try convincing them otherwise. So that's where they stand. So either they are stopped, and for that, again, the international community is going to need to come together, just like they came together during World War II, or Russians need to do it themselves and overthrow Putin. But right now they're saying they're happy to starve or eat shit for Putin. I'm not joking. Again, remember, I can read and understand Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, and French. And Russian language, social media is rife with messages like that. We will eat shit for Putin. So, his removal from power is highly unlikely. This is why Ukraine never ever shares its military plans with Trump. Trump actually asked Zelensky if Ukraine could strike Moscow. Are you fucking stupid? I don't answer that. I know he's fucking stupid. I know. That is a dumb question to ask. I apologize. Didn't mean to insult your intelligence, folks. I know he is stupid. But I mean, who says that? Meanwhile, this is important to know. So Ukraine is facing another government shakeup, and I am concerned about this. I am treating this as a developing story. I want to ask some folks I have in Europe, in Ukraine, if they know more about this whole thing. Here's what I know. This is in Ukraine's Kyiv Independent. So the Ukrainian parliament is scheduled to vote on the dismissal of Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal, who had submitted his resignation. Along with him, there's going to be a basically turnover of the entire cabinet. And this is where I need to ask some additional questions about this, because I don't understand why this is happening. Generally, at the time of war, that is such a bad time to engage in the bureaucratic bullshit of shuffling through your government. I don't know why this guy has resigned. Like I said, I will ask around, I will ask some more, and I will let you know. But the point is that it is happening. There's already candidates lined up for the new prime minister and for the new cabinet. The concern remains, and that has been concern in Ukraine like it is in any other country, is whom can we trust? Because on one hand, we have had officials that were accused of corruption, legitimately accused of corruption. And yes, some of them have been fired and punished, but of course the question arises, how many more are there? Because sadly, there are people who will, in fact, stuff their own pockets while their own people are dying and suffering. And then second, we have had instances of high-ranking official, civilian and military, who ended up Russian spies. That is another problem. That is the problem in the state of war that happens. And again, nobody is free from that. Look at the United States. Look at Peter Hegseth signaling attack plans in a chat. So, like I said, more to come on this. Hopefully, I'll have some information for you soon.